Class, this video is going to go over the money creation assignment where a $1,000 initial deposit is then worked through a banking system of 26 banks. The first thing we need to do is we need to fill in the variables that are given to us, and we should fill them in each row using label headings. So we know that our initial deposit is $1,000. We know that our required reserve ratio is 20%. So I'm going to simply create a calculation where I'm going to take the initial deposit and multiply it by 0.2. We know our excess reserve is going to be the difference of our initial deposit and our required reserves, and that the money created by each bank is equal to the amount of excess reserves of each deposit. Now, this was our initial deposit, and we're doing this for a 26 bank system, so let's call this Bank 1 or Bank A. And now for each succeeding bank, for the 26 banks in our system, we'll just set that up down to 26. The initial deposit in Bank 2, or the next succeeding bank, is always going to be equal to the money created or excess reserve in the preceding bank. And now that we do that, we could copy that down all the way to Bank 26. And then we could copy our formulas for required reserve, excess reserve, and money creation all the way down. And you can see that each succeeding bank deposit gets smaller, which means that the amount of money that they could create from each succeeding deposit gets smaller. We're only stopping this at Bank 26, but this could go on almost to infinity, with each number getting smaller and smaller. That's why when you would sum up this column, you would get an answer that is lower than the $4,000 you would get if you used the money or the simple deposit multiplier, because then we could take this farther than 26 banks. But since these numbers get smaller and smaller, I had you stop. So in review, what you do, whether you do this in Excel, which it's easier to copy and paste formulas, or in Word, you set up a table and you label your columns with the variable names that are given: the bank number, the initial deposit, the required reserve, the excess reserve, and money created. You fill in the amount of banks in the system, you put in your initial deposit, you set up your calculations, and then you could take these calculations and copy them all the way down to Bank 26. Your initial deposit at the next bank is going to be equal to the money created in the prior bank. So we could set up that formula and then copy that down. But as you can see here, I did not add the initial deposit to the excess reserve to get money created, because that is incorrect. Money created is simply the amount of excess reserves, or the money available that banks are not required to hold back by regulation and law, and that they could lend out, creating new money, because loans create a new checkable deposit, and checkable deposits are part of the money supply. I hope this example has cleared up any confusion that you have and could help you in finishing this assignment.